Hear me? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. What's up, sis? Are you there?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sis. What's up?
Oh, great. Okay. So I do have a couple questions. All right. So I noticed that in, let's see, Buddhism and let's see, Hinduism, there were places for women in the church. But in Christianity, they pretty much don't have any outside of Catholicism. So
For women,
after Protestantism and, hmm?
you said for
Yes, so they have, yeah, so nuns and mm,
well,
basically nuns and monks
you know,
and priests.
nuns, sis. Do not deprive. I was gonna say something real crazy. You shouldn't be a nun, no, sis. That ain't in the Bible,
Oh, of course not.
right?
But I wanted to hear what your viewpoint was on that.
As far as
Like, what is the reason for the because most religions do have a place for women in the church, whether it be
Mhm.
a nun or
So you
a
asking me
priestess
like,
or
what is my position on women's role as far as in my belief? Because I don't agree with Christianity, Hinduism, or Buddhism. But are you talking about
oh, of course.
right? So you talk about from an Israelite position or why? So now, but some churches allow women to teach. You got women pastors, you got women preachers, you got women that lead the prayer. So Christianity does allow women to do things. We're as Israelites would say a woman can't teach, but there's other things. When I'm saying teach, you can't teach men, but there's other things that women can do. So I just so I can kind of zero in on what you're asking. Are you asking what is a woman's role like in my belief or a woman's role in other beliefs?
Well, yes. So, yeah, more recently in the church, they have been more welcoming to women in various religions that come from Judaism. But I did notice that Paul did mention that the best thing that a woman could do to praise God would be to be quiet and also to bear children. So,
Oh,
how
no.
do you feel about that?
So those instances, first of all, before I answer your question, I just want to answer this super
Hmm.
Ephesians 5 and 4. No,
Hmm.
that doesn't mean so. Ephesians 5 and 4 does not mean that you can't use swear words or AKA cuss. Ephesians 5 and 4 just says avoid foolish talking and jesting, which are not convenient. So you just want to be mindful of how you conduct yourself. That's what that means. So now, when Paul says, "I suffer not a woman to teach, but to be quiet in the churches," it's about order. So think
Hmm.
about a congregation of men, women, and children. In that congregation, the men would lead the congregation, not the women. But let's say when it comes to women and children, the women can lead that. Like that's in order
Hmm.
because the head of the woman is the man. So the woman has never sat in a position of authority over the priestly duties, which is essentially what that is. So when you're doing the priestly duties, a woman's that's not the woman's role, that's the man's role. Now that does not mean that
Hmm.
women can't be prophetesses. That does not mean that women can't receive visions. That does not mean that the Lord can't deal with the woman and give the woman something that she didn't give he didn't give a man. But when it comes to the order of how the congregation is run, the man runs that. But the confusion comes in when a woman says, I want to sit in this man's seat. Like we don't want to sit in her seat. We want her to be a mother. We want her to raise the kids. We want her to teach the like Titus, for example. Titus 2 and is this two? Yeah. Titus 2 and 4 says the aged women likewise that they be in behavior as becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given to much wine, teachers of good things. So now women are teachers,
Hmm.
that they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children, but to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husbands, that the word of God be not blasphemed. So there is a role for women. But the role of women is not to be at the top of like where I'm at right now, saying, "All right, y'all go to 2 Corinthians 12 and 3. I'm gonna tell you what God said." That's just not her role. Her role is different. So once the men and women understand that balance, now a woman can go full into being the excellent sister that she's supposed to be, the excellent mother or the excellent daughter that she's supposed to be.
Okay, I really appreciate you. explain that to me. I do also have a question about Eve.
About what?
The first woman, Eve, the first woman.
Who say the name again?
So Eve,
Eve.
Adam's
Okay,
wife.
I didn't hear what you said. Eve. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so Eve. Um, why do you think that in, I guess not Christianity, but in the Bible and also in Greek mythology, you have these two women who basically are the fall of all of, I guess, humanity.
What
Like,
two,
for example, Pandora.
two women in the Bible are the fall?
Sorry, and one is in the Bible, the other is in Greek mythology. So Eve is the fall of humanity, or is seen as the fall of humanity. And in Greek mythology, similarly, Pandora is used as a punishment to man after Prometheus gives them, I guess, fire. And she is given to man as the first woman, and she has this box of despair. Now, she uses this box to basically ruin the world. She brings sickness and death and old age. And Eve, by eating the apple, similarly does the same thing. So, what do you think the parallels are in these? Like, why do you
Well,
believe
I
that both
can't.
of these had to be women?
The Greek mythology is probably a copy of the Bible, so I can't really speak for that because I don't know too much about that. From the Eve perspective, Eve, and this is what Black women can learn this day, is that Eve chose to be against her husband by listening to that serpent or that man tell her that she would be a god and was deceived. But both of them fell together. Eve, the reason why Eve is represented as the fall is because she was deceived first. So if she would have just listened to her man and never brought that thing to the serpent, the man would have never disobeyed. But that doesn't absolve the man. As you see, they all got punished. So the reason why Eve is looked at as that is because of her allowing herself to be deceived by the serpent.
Okay, it's really interesting that you said that. So, if you notice, she actually speaks to the serpent. The serpent comes to her.
Mm.
Why do you think the serpent comes to her instead of coming to Adam? Because when
Now let me ask
she
you,
talks
are you
to
a
the
black woman?
serpent, they actually,
Are you,
sorry?
are you a black woman?
I mean, yes, but let me finish this first before like you get into it. So they actually go back and forth, and while she does fail to, I guess, win the argument, she ultimately does bite into the apple.
She didn't buy
When she goes to
that.
Adam,
Mm-hmm.
or sorry, not the apple, the fruit.
It was, yeah.
When she goes to Adam,
Mm-hmm.
he does not argue at all. He just bites into it. So, in that moment, do you believe that this was a sign that Eve was stronger than him? Because he didn't argue at all, but she did.
Right. So that's what I was going to say. This is a great lesson. The reason why I asked if he was a black woman, and I'm glad you said yeah, is because this is a great lesson of what black women should learn today. Because you said, why did the serpent go to the woman? Because the scriptures say no man enter into a strong man's house unless he first bind up the strong man. And how he bound it, how that serpent bound up that strong man was by going through his woman. And so what he did, what the serpent did, or what the man did, was went to the woman and came to her and said that God said you couldn't eat. And of course, and you said such a beautiful word, she wanted to teach, which goes back to why a woman shouldn't be teaching. So she thinks she's going to outwit a man. And that's what black women also should learn, that you can't outwit a man. And she thought she was going to outwit this serpent. And the woman said, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but the fruit of the tree in the midst of the garden, God said you shall not eat, neither shall you touch it, lest you die. Now she know the rules that Adam laid down to her, but it's not enough to know the rules. You have to avoid, like you have to have a hedge. So really, she should have never entertained him. You know what she should have said when that serpent came? She should have said, you should talk to my husband about it. She should look at you, and this, and the reason why I say with black women and black men is because black women got to understand that, as well as black men, that when your enemy comes to you, he's not coming to benefit you. And that serpent was an enemy to her. And she thought that it was a friend because he's just striking up a conversation. And so she gives him the game that her man gave her. And then that serpent, because he's smarter than her, said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die. And what that did for her, was make her believe that her husband was lying now. And that's what the white man is, with the government, and that's what everybody. Even if you're married and another, I don't know if you're married or not, but even if you're married and another man come and spit game to you, the first thing he's going to try to do is make whatever your husband said be a lie, give you doubt about your husband. And when he said, "Ye shall not surely die," antenna go up. And then he says, "For God doth know that in the day that you eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil." Now she believes that Adam was keeping something from her. Keeping what? The ability to be a god. And that, listen, the reason why the churches and everybody placate to women, because women are the most gullible people on the planet, the most gullible childlike species on the planet. And if you pump her up enough, she'll give you her ass, she'll give you her money, she'll give you her life. And when she told, now, and because you got to look at it, when he said, "You shall be as the gods," the actual God told him that they would die if they got the knowledge of good and evil. She disregarded that for the chance at having this power that this serpent said to her. And then she ate.
I mean, did God ever address her directly, or did he address Adam and then Adam told her?
You know what? Wait, we'll get to that, because God, why? One second, I'm sorry. Let me just finish. So when God, because just to answer your second part, when the woman brought it to Adam, Adam was not supposed to listen to her, which is the other lesson. The other lesson that black men got to remember is that as you take charge of your household, when a woman or your woman brings you something that you know is not right, you can't give in just because she got a pretty face, because she got tail, because she got money. You have to stand with the Lord even over your woman. Your woman could want you to do anything, whatever it is that she wants you to do. If you know that it's against God, you're supposed to say no. That's the lesson that we're supposed to learn from that. That's what Adam did not do. Adam went right, learned that same information that Eve did. And then when they realized they messed up, when the Lord came to Adam, you notice the Lord didn't come to Eve. You know why the Lord came to Adam? Because even if Eve gets deceived, even if your woman gets deceived, when she comes to you, you can't get deceived because you're the head. So that means everything falls at your doorstep. If you're the head of the household, it's your job to put that hedge to protect. It's your job to watch. So he should have did a better job preparing for that serpent. Or at best, if she fell for the serpent, he should have battled her and said, "Okay, you can listen to that man, but I'm not listening to that man." And if she say, "Well, I'm leaving if you don't do that," then lose your wife. It's better to lose your wife than to lose your God. And so the Lord came to Adam.
Yeah, but here's the thing, he didn't. Do you think it was because he didn't have the ability to?
What do you mean by the ability? He had the ability to. He just chose not to. He had the.
I mean, yeah, but if he knew that, like if God told him directly, he said, "Hey, if you take a bite of this fruit, you're going to die, or you're going to have problems."
Right.
Why, when the person who comes from his rib does something that he believes is wrong,
okay,
why wouldn't he say, "Hey, don't do that"?
Okay, so it's not a literal.
Do you believe
rib.
that?
Right, it's not a literal rib. It's just a family.
Oh, of course not. But
right.
but she came from him in the second story of creation.
It's not two stories. It's only one story, sis. When it said, just real quick, when it says his rib, she was just a family member, someone of his tribe. It wasn't like a rib, like a piece of his bone out of his body. The bone of bone.
Of course, it's not to be taken literal.
Right.
But
so now, the reason why Adam didn't do anything, because he chose to listen to his woman instead of battling his woman. And that was the problem. He chose, even though he knew the same thing that Eve did. That's why they both got punished. And then he tried to blame the woman. He said, and the man said, "The woman who thou gavest to be with me, she gave me of the tree and I did eat." He chose to listen to this woman and then try to blame her. And the Lord checked the woman, checked Adam, and checked the serpent. And so
I don't believe he only tried to blame her. I think he tried to blame God too, because he said, "You gave her to me."
if you know anything about man, they'll say something just like that. The woman that thou gavest to me, like I wasn't even looking for a woman. And you gave me this woman, and she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. And now the other heavy part about this is you can't go to God and say, I did this because this woman did this. I did this because this man did this. You are responsible for your own actions. If he wouldn't have done it, only Eve and the serpent would have got punished. If Eve didn't do it,
Mm.
the serpent would have got punished. So you're responsible for your actions. You cannot go before the Lord and say, yeah, I did that because Tanya said we got to worship Thanksgiving. We got to worship Christmas. So I did it for that. The Lord's going to punish you because you know better. So we don't have that excuse. So the reason why
Yeah, I'm going to be quite honest with you.
because she's the first one.
Well, I will say this. I do appreciate, you explaining all of this to me, your beliefs. I will say I'm not really a part of Christianity or the school that you teach for, but I do really appreciate you breaking this down for me. I guess I should say I am a student, and one of my classes is Women in Religion. And we were tasked with going to, I guess, a service or a religion outside of our beliefs. And I was really drawn to this one because of its beliefs on women, and I really wanted to, I guess, hear more about it. And if you're open to like discussing more at another time, I would love to hear
I
from you.
do. So if you the Captain Tazaryak channel on YouTube, if you just subscribe, I do Car Chronicles pretty much every day, East Coast time, roughly between the hours of 10 and 2. I do my Car Chronicles where it's similar like this, where I put my phone number in the chat and then people could call in and ask questions. And we do this show every Thursday from 10 to 12. Damn, it's 1:30. Why you ain't tell me it's this damn late? I'm an hour and a half past my time. Damn, I didn't know.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you sitting down and speaking with me about this.
No problem at all.
I did want to, if you did have time, maybe like take like 20 minutes and then like, or not today, but like if you ever do have time, then maybe I can interview you about it.
Yeah, I tell you what, are you on Instagram or anything like that? My name is Tazaryak on Instagram or Facebook. You could just follow me and we can set something up.
Thank you so much. Okay, I will send you a message. And other than that, I do hope you have a really great day. I appreciate your time.
No problem. Do you have my Instagram? Are you on Instagram?
No, but I have the Facebook. I actually came across you on Facebook. I'm not really a social media user, to be honest.
Okay.
But I did like try to log back in, to try to find something that was, because like everybody was going to do like, Islam, Judaism, Buddhism, and Taoism. And I was like, I want to do something different. So it's pretty much why I ended up here.
Okay. Just shoot me a message or anything like that, and then we could definitely set it up.
Oh, thank you so much. You enjoy your day.
You too. All right.